Hey, good morning. Happy Friday. What's happening? Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1400, 1,400 episodes in. Happy Friday. It's a card show weekend for me, so I'm excited. I've got a collection I'm picking up at the show. May dig through some bargain boxes. I'll have all new bargain boxes. So I'm looking forward to a big show on Sunday. I'm going to be at the Janesville Card Show, Janesville, Wisconsin. I'm looking at having a big show because I know I'm buying, and I hope to sell. I've got some really good bargain boxes this show. Some good stuff, quarter boxes, a lot of stuff that I normally would put in dollar boxes, but it's one of those blowout sales at 25 cents a piece. So I'm looking for a big sales day. And I've got a nice collection that I'm picking up that's kind of the perfect type of buy for how I run my business. There's some good stuff, some higher dollar stuff, and then there's a lot of bulk as well. So I can get my money back fairly quickly because it's not just I'm not spending $2,000 on bulk, right? And it's like, yeah, I can make 5,000-6,000 on this, but it's going to take a while. I'll get back to my break-even point. And that's kind of what I strive for. And I've talked about this numerous times. When I'm buying a collection like this, I'm looking for $100 cards, $50 cards that are liquid that I can sell and hit break-even fast. So I want to hit break-even within a week, maybe 2 weeks. And then the rest, I can filter out, and then it's kind of a trickle as it sells in my eBay store at $2 or whatever the price is. This collection also, it's easy cash money on, there's a stack of Acuñas, a stack of Aaron Rodgers, a stack of others that, I've got a local buyer that pays me X amount per card. And I'll see him in 2 weeks at the Madison Card Show, which is February 22nd. So I'll be able to cash out on some of that stuff as well. So although I may, for players like Acuña and Trout, I'm only getting 20 cents a card on those cash. And I can probably make a little bit more. And I know there's some snap tight cases that are, pretty big. Might do 50, 100 count lots and, net a little more than 20 cents. So, what else is going on? Did some shipping yesterday. Mouth is better. Still a little bit still got the bump, woke up a little bit of pain, but, for the most part, that's better. I'm just looking forward to getting out back at a card show on Sunday. So come out and see me. Janesville, Wisconsin, Super Bowl Sunday, Super Bowl coming up Sunday night, Eagles and Chiefs. Looking forward. I think it's going to be a big show. I've heard good things about Super Bowl Sunday card shows. Janesville's a good show as it is. It's well established, well attended. And I think it's going to be a great show on Sunday. What else is going on? That's about it. All right. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. eBay sales had a decent day. Still below where I am striving to be. But a good day. It's actually February's been off to a pretty solid start. I've had a couple substandard days. Monday was crappy. Wednesday was crappy. Yesterday was good. Tuesday was good. Sunday was good. Saturday was good. So off to a decent start. We take a look at my month to date. We'll do the first 6 days. 01, 225, 02, 06, 2025. And let's just compare that to a year ago. And let's see how I'm tracking year over year in my eBay store. I'm 100%. I'm 100% up over month to date in 2024. So pretty good. I'm shitty so far on auctions, but I haven't been running very many auctions. The auctions I have been running have been, your typical 99-cent auctions. So I'm 100% over this same time period last year for February. Let's take a look at year to date. And remember, I need to be around 40%. I need to see 40% growth in 2025. Right now, year to date, 42% on net sales. That's where I need to be. So we'll keep that going. So I've got to keep that up. I did get my shipping notification. By the way, speaking of eBay, there's my link, 99centcards.com. And remember, if you buy 7 or more at regular price, you'll save 25% off at checkout. That's on buy it now items only, 99centcards.com. Coming next week will be Top Series 1. I received my shipping notification yesterday. We were talking about that, I think, yesterday or the day before. It actually came a little earlier than I expected. I thought that my why is it not showing up? Maybe if I hit refresh. Is it in my other folder? There it is. I was expecting my shipping notification to arrive today, Friday, and Thursday night. So horse apiece. So the label was created, and I'm curious, if the label was created Thursday night, is FedEx going to pick it up today? I don't expect so it's 2 days. So perfect. I think it's going to ship out on Monday. It'd be awesome if it shipped out today. But my tracking information, it says FedEx 2-day shipment information was sent to FedEx last night. So I'm expecting it to ship out on Monday. Obviously, it's probably FedEx hasn't been to Tops. I don't even, will it give me where it's shipping out of? If I go to the FedEx website. Oh, there we go. It is shipping from Texas. Okay, it is shipping from Texas, Sunnyvale. So label created last night, 7:06 p.m. So it'd be awesome if it shipped today and then I got it Monday or Tuesday. But I would expect it to ship out Monday and I'll get it on release day on Wednesday. That's my prediction, at least. So that's good. It's Friday. We're gonna play Name That Player. We're doing Junk Wax. I didn't feel like going through cards this morning, so we're gonna do Junk Wax today. A pack of cards. The latest Goodwill palette had, I think, 6 boxes of unopened packs, which is a rarity for Goodwill palettes. So we're talking the junkiest of Junk Wax. Packs will be available. I'll be selling packs for $1 a piece. You'd be surprised how fast I sell. Now, I'm going to come home with a lot of packs, but I bet I sell a lot of packs on Sunday. And I'll be taking, I think I've got a Cooper, or what's the black and white cards, Conlon collection. I've got a box of those. Got 90 Donruss, 90 Fleer, 91 Score, 90 Tops. And then I've got some like hockey and soccer that I'll throw in there too. So I'll have Junk Wax packs, $1 a piece. Those repacks, I'll be putting those out. I think I'm going to do $1 a piece on those. We saw how crappy those cards were inside. We did the repack last week on Name That Player. So yeah. So Sunday, Janesville, Wisconsin. And then the Madison Card Show is coming up in 2 weeks, Saturday, February 22nd. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, sold out show, 140 dealer tables, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. free admission. Madison Card Show, Saturday, February 22nd. And the March show, March 29th, PSA will be in-house accepting submissions. So come out, and drop your orders off to PSA Saturday, March 29th at the Madison Card Show. Let's go to the chat. What's going on? Mr. Archer is here. What's up? Good morning. JK Cards in the house. Good morning. Peter says, happy effing Friday. Happy effing Friday. It is here. Orlando, what's happening? Good morning. JK Card says, got your shipping notification? Yes. Yes. Did so last night, which is a day early, but I still don't expect them to ship it today. I think they'll probably hold on to it over the weekend and it'll ship out on Monday. That's my prediction. They created the label. It'll get picked up on Monday and I'll have it on my doorstep around lunchtime Wednesday. Top Series 1. Mikey's in the house. Good morning. Sports Card Ripping Teacher is here. Good morning and a congratulations to Orlando. He's in the Hall of Fame. Hey, speaking of Hall of Fame, Orlando's in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame now. And we've got some new football Hall of Famers. Philly Joe's in the house. Good morning, Bo and Cult. It's not gang, it's a cult. I don't like cults. Can we be a gang? Gangs sound more fun. Football Hall of Fame. Sterling Sharp, Antonio Gates, Jared Allen, and Eric Allen. No relation. Eli Manning. I thought he was a shoo-in. See, I don't understand the Football Hall of Fame, as is well documented on this show. So the inductees to the Pro Football Hall of Fame: Antonio Gates, Jared Allen, Eric Allen, Sterling Sharp. Left in the cold, Eli Manning and Adam Vinatieri. If you would have told me, I would have said like shoo-ins. Shoo-ins would have been Eli Manning and Adam Vinatieri. And then I would have been probably Antonio Gates. And like Eric, I would not have said Eric Allen. Sterling Sharp was one of those guys where it's like, well, maybe. Jared Allen was one of those guys where I thought he would eventually get in. But I am shocked. Eli Manning left off. And Adam Vinatieri. I thought Adam Vinatieri was going to get in. Now, here's an article on ESPN.com why Eli Manning didn't make the cut for the class of 2025 Hall of Fame in the first sentence. The headline. Well, that's clickbait. Manning has had Hall of Fame moments, but not a Hall of Fame career. I don't know. Do you agree with that or not? I think he's got good numbers, but I do not know. I can speak somewhat intelligently about the Baseball Hall of Fame, somewhat. I am more in tune to the Baseball Hall of Fame. The Football Hall of Fame, I have no idea. Like what makes a Hall of Famer? Like I would have thought Eli Manning was a shoo-in. And Eric Allen, it's like, yeah, I remember Eric Allen was. So this is why I don't believe in the sniff test or the eye test. Because I watched Eric Allen play football. Or the name test. Like when you say Ichiro, you're like, Hall of Famer? Absolutely. When you say Harold Baines, like, do you think Hall of Famer? No. There's eventually going to be another player that takes that will stop comparing Harold Baines to not Hall of Famers. In football, like there's a lot of players that I'd be like, oh, they're a Hall of Famer, and they're not. And then now Eric Allen is in the Hall of Fame. When like I pull Hall of Fame cards for a buyer, and I'm looking at the Hall of Fame list, especially hockey, because I don't know shit about hockey. So I'm looking at the Hall of Fame list. I'm like, he's a Hall of Famer? Like, I didn't know that. Basketball Hall of Fame, Vlade Divac. It's like, Vlade Divac? And I know the Basketball Hall of Fame is different. It's a little, because it's international. But like the Football Hall of Fame, there's names in Football Hall of Fame. It's like, really? And this guy isn't in? So, I don't know. Orlando says, thank you. Hall of Fame induction speech Monday for me. Very cool. Sports Card Ripping Teacher is looking forward to it. What's up, dat dude from Duryea? Red lights in the house. Good morning. God is great. Hello from the rising sun. Japan is checking in. What's going on? Sports card ripping teacher says hello to Ken. Hope the kids had a great day. Had 12 feet of snow today. Holy moly. We are snow free in Wisconsin right now. We had some ice yesterday over, Wednesday night into Thursday morning. We had some ice, but it melted. And now it's like at this point, like the days are getting longer. Now snow is like F-bombs. Like if it snows, like measurable snow, I'm dropping F-bombs because we've gone through winter. Like this should be spring now. It's February. Pitchers and catchers are reporting soon, like this weekend. The days are getting longer. Topps is releasing next week. It's spring now. I don't want any more snow. And we're gonna get probably a few snowstorms, and I'm gonna be, God damn it, I wish I was in Arizona. 25 days, and I'll be on a plane to spring training. So yeah, no snow on the ground, but it's coming. I'm probably jinxing it, and we're gonna get dumped on today. BPC is back. Bushnell in the house. Did 16 hours of volunteer work as well. Holy moly. Gem City Card Show is here. Good morning. Kevin's in the house. I had a buyer complain that I sent his two $1.35 cards in one card saver. Oh, God. Those are the worst. That's a first for me. It only took 18,000 sales to get someone to complain about my shipping practices. Oh, my shipping practices must really suck because I get a whole bunch of them. Hey, speaking of my shipping practices, yesterday we did the feedback removal, and it was removed. My neutral feedback was removed. Not instantly, but within a couple hours. When I checked later on in the morning yesterday, that neutral feedback was gone for slow shipping. I shipped within my terms and conditions. So anytime somebody says you're a slow shipper or it took forever to get here and you shipped it within your stated times, hit that feedbook removal. Feedbook. I keep saying feedbook. Thank you, Facebook, for making me confuse feedback. Hit that feedback removal and explain your case. Like, hey, I shipped this within my terms and conditions, and he's lying because I'm not a slow shipper. It's in the stated terms and conditions. So feedback removed. Michael Renicky, what's going on? Good morning. Sports card ripping teacher says, I'm done with the snow. Did you get a case? I know a couple that ordered a case and they got info yesterday. Single boxes, no info. So yes, I did get a case. I ordered a jumbo case. Gem City Card Show says, wow, Kevin, that's something. East Coast Tom is in the house, and he'll be in the house on Sunday in Janesville. I will see you there. Red Light says, thank you for combining the shipping. Hey, you are welcome. Brian says, I got a fucking job, you dirty sons of bitches. Brian is back and dropping F-bombs. He is employed again. Tell us, do tell, what is Brian up to now? Scott, good morning. John says, Eric Allen doesn't pass the sniff test for me. They probably printed so many of these that they need to start printing early. And I hope they do. That's my case. That's my thing with Series 1. I hope they print the goddamn shit out of it. I hope there's Topps Series 1 on every doorstep, in every goddamn gas station, and every fucking barber shop. I want Topps Series 1 everywhere. I think they should print it to the moon. That's my thought on Topps Series 1. Everything else, we should see limited. But Topps, everybody should get Topps. There should not be empty shelves at Target and Walmart for Topps. Put it out everywhere. Michael Renicky, Packers fan, says glad Sterling Sharp got in. John says Eli is not a Hall of Famer on his regular season merits. And I can't speak to that because I don't know. Is there a football reference? Is there a football, like in baseball, you have Jaws. Is there a Jaws for football? Oh, Eli Manning stats. Pro Football Reference. Hopefully it's the same as Baseball Reference. So I don't know what this means. All right. So Eli Manning, 57,000 yards passing, 366 touchdowns, 266 interceptions. We want a comparison. He had a nice long 16-year career. All right, let's go to the bottom. Let's see like similar players. So career similar players. I don't know how many of these are Hall of Famers or not. I know one of them is not a Hall of Famer because he's one of those guys that I always like, I think he's in the Hall of Fame. So career, similar players to Eli Manning, players whose career was of similar quality and shape. Let's just share this damn screen. Eli Manning. Let's drop. Where are we at? Let's drop that and let's drop that. Okay, so Eli Manning, career, players whose career was of similar quality and shape to Eli Manning. Warren Moon, Ben Roethlisberger, Matthew Stafford, John Haddle, Donovan McNabb, Terry Bradshaw, Joe Montana, Carson Palmer, Drew Bledsoe, and Bob Greasy. And I assume the asterisk means Hall of Fame. So Warren Moon, Terry Bradshaw, Joe Montana, Bob Greasy, Ben Roethlisberger will be in the Hall of Fame. Matthew Stafford will be in the Hall of Fame. So there's only two on that list that are non-Hall of Famers, John Haddle and Donovan McNabb, because Roethlisberger, I don't think he's eligible quite yet. And Stafford obviously is still active. That's a Hall of Fame resume, in my opinion. Okay, Hall of Fame monitor. He's 22nd among quarterbacks. All right, so here's quarterback Hall of Fame. There's Eli Manning. So there's plenty of Hall of Famers below him. Jim Kelly, Troy Aikman, Len Dawson, Joe Namath, Warren Moon, Bob Greasy, Sonny Jurgensen, Ken Stabler. Matthew Stafford will be in the Hall of Fame. Of course, his number will probably rise above Eli once he's done. So the only non-Hall of Famers ahead of Eli Manning on the Hall of Fame monitor from Pro Football Reference. Where's Eli? Russell Wilson is ahead of him. And Russell Wilson's one of those guys. Will Russell Wilson be a Hall of Famer? I would think of Eli Manning as more of a Hall of Famer than Russell Wilson. And maybe that is because of postseason success. Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger will be a Hall of Famer. Patrick Mahomes will be a Hall of Famer. Matt Ryan, I think he's one of those guys that will probably be a Hall of Famer. Steve Young, and then all of these guys. And all of these guys will be in. Breeze, Rodgers, Brady. So, I mean, Eli Manning, he's in the bottom, third of Hall of Famers on that list. And there's plenty, below him. No, not too many. Jim Kelly's looks like he's the worst ranked quarterback on this monitor. Aikman, I didn't realize Aikman was down that low. So, I mean, to me, the numbers test, the stats, Eli Manning has the overall numbers. Andy Mack says Eli should be in. And I am not an Eli fan. I am not a fanboy Eli Manning should be in. I've come to respect him more than I hated Eli Manning. Eli Manning was like Yadier Molina. If there was a football player that I disliked as much as in baseball I do Yadier Molina, it would have been Eli Manning because of that damn draft day where he pouting on the stage because the Chargers drafted. I don't want to play for the Chargers. He's a big fucking baby, Eli Manning. So I never liked him, but I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. And over time, I forget about that. Unicorn Cupcake says, congrats, Brian. Kickers take a long time to get in. Kind of like relief pitchers in baseball. Sterling Sharp is in. Vince, another Packers fan. I wonder if Sterling will apologize to Zach for the way he treated him at a meet and greet. That was the first thing I thought of. The first thing I thought of when I saw the Hall of Fame announcement was, Zach's not going to be happy. Sterling Sharp is in. Gem City Card Show says Eli can't be in until Tom is. That's kind of a good, that's kind of like, it would only make sense, right? Like you got to put Eli. Eli and Tom got to go in at the same time. You kind of think of Eli Manning and Tom Brady in a playing days perspective, like in the same era. John says Eli is certainly not a first ballot Hall of Famer, which I think is stupid. I think first ballot Hall of Fame is dumb. Baseball and football operate differently. My opinion doesn't change though. Even though they operate differently, I think first ballot, fifth ballot, 10th ballot, whether it's baseball or football, I think it's dumb. If you're a Hall of Famer, you're a freaking Hall of Famer. Philly Joe says, Eli stunk versus the Eagles. No way he is a Hall of Famer. Cooter's here. He says, who isn't in the Hall of Fame? Well, Donovan McNabb is not, nor is Reggie Wayne, and now Eli Manning is not either. They definitely approach induction differently. John says, letting baseball writers, whose only goal these days is to be controversial, vote on the merits of baseball players is ridiculous. Now that I can agree with. Gem City Card Show says Eli will be a Hall of Famer, so will Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, Eli Manning will get in. And maybe I just don't know I don't know the Football Hall of Fame. I don't know how the voting works. I don't know why Eric Allen is in the Hall of Fame. Well, you know what? We can let's share the screen again. Let's go see Eric Allen. He was a cornerback, correct? Eric Allen. Let's just see Eric Allen. Let's just go down. Let's just cut to the chase. Hall of Fame monitor. He is 50th among defensive backs. All right. Looks like there's a lot of. So where is Eric? Eric Allen. Wow. He's way down there. So in rankings of defensive backs, players that are not in the Hall of Fame ahead of him, Carnell Lake, Lamar Parrish. These are retired. I'm not going to mention current players like Jalen Ramsey, Tony Banfield, Jake Scott, Joey Browner. Jake Scott's one of those guys, but he played before I was born. So I just know he was part of the Dolphins Super Bowl. Cornell Green, Darren Cherry, Darren Woodson, Dick Anderson, another Dolphin from the 70s, Earl Thomas, Lester Hayes, Richard Sherman, Patrick Peterson. Richard Sherman, he'll probably get in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he's eligible yet. So Eric Allen's one of those guys where I don't know. Emmett Thomas, he's another guy that I'm shocked is in the Hall of Fame. Jim Marshall isn't in the Hall of Fame, which is crazy. Let's look up Jim Marshall's stats. Let's look up the old Hall of Fame monitor on Jim Marshall. He was a defensive end. Oh, we got to share the screen. All right. Similar players to Jim Marshall, Ed Too Tall Jones, Justin Smith, Kevin Carter, Ted Washington, Ron McDowell, Lyle Alzado, Bryant Young, Vince Wilfork, Henry Thomas, and Buck Buchanan. Not exactly a who's who of professional football players. Although he does rank 34th among defensive ends. So he's down here. So he's kind of on the fringe. There's quite a few guys ahead of L.C. Greenwood, not in the Hall of Harvey Martin. That's another one. Harvey Martin. Like, I would think Harvey Martin, Neil Smith, Kansas City Chiefs, Chandler Jones, Earl Faison, Justin Smith, John Abraham, Too Tall Jones. Jim Marshall's a lot closer than Eric Allen to defensive backs. Yeah, Jim Marshall's got a pretty good resume. He's got numbers that where are we at? Philly Joe says Lester Hayes belongs in the Hall of Fame. Sports Card Ripping Teacher says bigger Manning question. Who will make the FanDuel kick, Eli or Peyton? It could take them 15 minutes before one makes a kick. Man, I don't know. I'm going to say Eli. He's going to be mad that he's not in the Hall of Fame. He's got little brother syndrome. Eli's going to he's going to hit the kick. John says, Basketball Hall of Fame takes all basketball into consideration, college, pro, international. Japanese have smaller feet, so don't get too excited. Smaller condoms as well. Andy Mack says, look at Lynn Swann's career stats. He never had over 900 receiving yards in a year. He's in for his postseason accomplishments. Well, let's look at old Lynn Swann. Lynn Swann did not have a long career. Lynn Swann only played 9 years. Holy shit. Lynn Swann. All right. Similar players to Lynn Swann. Here's a who's who. Lynn Swann should not be in the Hall of Fame. Terrence Mathis, Brandon Cooks, Keenan Allen, Al Toon, Madison legend Al Toon, Carl Pickens, Greg Jennings, Daryl Jackson, Golden Tate, Derek Alexander, and Alfred Jenkins are the similar players to Lynn Swann. Hall of Fame monitor. He's 43rd. And there's a lot of players ahead of him not in the Hall of Fame include Rod Smith, Jimmy Smith, Stanley Morgan, a lot of recent players, Harold Jackson, Henry Ellard, Del Schaffner. He's also kind of one of those fringy guys. There's a few wide receivers below him ranking: Tommy McDonald, Bob Hayes, Bobby Mitchell, John Stallworth, and Harold Carmichael. So he's like right at the end on the fringe, but only a 9-year career for Lynn Swann. But I can't compare that to like a 10-year baseball career. Baseball and football, obviously a lot different. 9 years in football. What's the career? What's the like NFL average is probably like what, 3-4 years. I wonder what the Hall of Fame, like how long the Hall of Famers are. John says, no threat of snow today where I am. Scott says, hello, Titus, a.k.a. God is great. Cooter says, grass is starting to turn green here. We will still get freezes. Uncle Rich in the house. Good morning to you. John says his new job is delivering Series 1. Looking forward to his next job search. John says, speaking of jaws, Eli is an open mouth breather, which should also preclude an immediate induction. Orlando says, beautiful day in South Florida, driving up to Boca today to meet YouTuber Tony, Southern Collector. Very cool. Uncle Rich says 4 Hall of Famers. John says Bledsoe isn't a Hall of Famer. Eli is a no-brainer Hall of Famer. This isn't a debate. I agree. Like, if you're a Hall of Famer, like he's not playing anymore. Like, what's going to make him a Hall of Famer in 5 years that doesn't make him a Hall of Famer today? Like, nothing. He's a Hall of Famer. He should be in. Uncle Rich says, and a couple who will get in, Ben will get in. Haddle might get in someday. Is Jurgensen a Hall of Famer? Love Tony's videos and storytelling. Gem City Card Show says, yes, Russell Wilson will be a Hall of Famer. Max says Russ will get in. Big Ben will as well. Rivers and Ryan, maybe not. Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know about Russell Wilson. I'll take your word for it. I don't pay close enough attention. Rivers, Phillip Rivers had he's like a stat pat. Like he just put up crazy ass numbers. I think Phillip Rivers will eventually get in. And, it might take a while, but I think Phillip Rivers will eventually get in. Matt Ryan, I don't know. I don't know about Matt Ryan. Roethlisberger will definitely get in. Max says Aikman just didn't play that long. How many years did Aikman play? Did he play about 12 years? Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman played 12 years. John says numbers are a lot different between football eras than baseball eras. L1C says it is the Hall of Good and the Hall of Popularity. If Joe Namath and Kurt Warner are in, then the floodgates are open. Porter says Torrey Holt overdue for the Hall of Fame. Yeah, Torrey Holt, the greatest show on turf. Tracy, good morning. Vince says, I've liked Eli Manning since he started calling his brother out for some of the things he says on the Monday Night Football broadcast. John says, Zach headed to Canton with his lawn chair to get in line. GNC in the house. Good morning. John says that was at Eli's first game. He got obliterated by Jerome McDougal. Eric Allen was a great cornerback, part of the best defense ever. Rich says the voting in the Hall of Fame is the stupidest thing. Philly Joe says Eric Allen was awesome. So 2 Philly guys are telling us about how awesome Eric Allen, a Philadelphia Eagle, was. Any non-Eagles fans for football? A lot more defensive backs than quarterbacks. Rich says it's private and your name gets brought up by the writer of your local area. Interesting. John says, where's Dion in the cornerback stats? No one threw to Dion. How can you have stats when no one threw to your side? Jake Scott was Super Bowl MVP. Lamar Parrish and Jake Scott and Cornell Green and Dick Anderson, all possible Hall of Famers. So is Lester Hayes. Jim Marshall was the man. JK is right. Dude, just stop with the G equals football Hall of Fame talk. You are so out of your depth. Jim Marshall also leads the league in running to the wrong end zone. He is running the wrong way. A couple of Hall of Famers on that list, and a couple of possible Hall of Famers. Then says, I think too many just reminder him for running the wrong way. That's too bad. You guys think 2024 football was 1974 football? Broadcasts a lack of knowledge on the history of football. Oh, I know there's a gigantic difference in the game of football. I mean, you touch a quarterback and it's a penalty now. That wasn't the case 20 years ago, let alone 50 years ago. Same goes for baseball too. Peter says, how's your wife feeling today after this? She's still a little sore. Wife took a spill on the ice Wednesday night. So yeah, a little sore, but she's okay. Philly Joe says the Raiders kept concussing Lynn Swann. By the way, cut Bo some slack on his Hall of Fame talk. I'm just reciting numbers. He is learning on the fly about the stuff we all grew up with, and this will help him continue to expand in the wonderful world of vintage. I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. No fucking way. Eli is a no-brainer is the most accurate thing that has been said about Eli this morning. Gates put up crazy numbers because of Phillip Rivers. Antonio's Gates. Andy says, I don't like limiting the number inducted each year. You're either in or not. That's like, you're a Hall of Famer. If there's a whole bunch of Hall of Fame worthy players, put them all in. If there's nobody, you don't have to put somebody in. Like next year's baseball ballot, like there's no Hall of Famers that will be on the ballot for the first time on next year's ballot, which I think will lead to writers just voting for players that probably shouldn't get votes just because, well, we got to put somebody in. Now, I understand there's been years where nobody's got in, but I think those days are over. I think it's a generational thing, and I think the voters of today are a little more liberal with their votes. And we see that with the steroid era. The curmudgeons of the past, no steroids. And this generation is like, yeah, we'll give them a pat, which they should. Jim City says Gronkowski is also a no-brainer. That's true. He is a no-brainer. Fact. Andy says, I've been to the Football Hall of Fame 3 times. It's cool to see players from your team in there. Eric Allen has 4 picks, 6 in one season. That's not unawesome. Max says, wait, are we saying Kurt Warner shouldn't be in? How? John is he's showing his stupidity in terms of Football Hall of Fame with his comment about Kurt Warner. Good morning, Jody. That dude says, how awesome was he if it took 24 years to get in? Right. Well, he wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, that's the thing. It's like, was he that awesome? No. Is the Football Hall of Fame voting stupid? Yeah. I mean, at some point in the last 19 years, or what, I don't know if he's been eligible 24 or 19, but at some point, if Eric Allen was truly awesome, shouldn't he have been in at least 5 or 10 years ago? I would think yes. Minneapolis Kid says, I think Roger Craig is the most deserving guy that isn't in. Roger Craig. And I always think of the Roger Craig Sports Bar. Roger Craig grew up near where I grew up. Roger Craig, 11 years. Let's see. I just want to look at similar players. Eric Dickerson. Wow. Roger Craig has some good similar players, which is surprising to me. Similar quality and shape over a career. Eric Dickerson, Adrian Peterson, Fred Taylor, Matt Forte, Ricky Waters, Thurman Thomas, Leroy Kelly, O.J. Simpson, LaShawn McCoy, Otis Anderson. That's a damn good list. Roger Craig. Where's he at in the ranking, in the Hall of Fame comparison? Hall of Fame monitor. 24th among running backs. Holy shit. He's like right in the thick of things. See, I never would have thought about that, about Roger Craig. And I grew up rooting for the 49ers when they played in the Super Bowl. I was a huge Joe Montana fan. I rooted for Roger Craig because he was on commercials in my TV market because he grew up in the Quad Cities. Players in the Hall of Fame monitor below him in the Hall of Fame: Jerome Bettis, John Riggins, Paul Hornung, Larry Zonka. Right ahead of him, Tony Dorsett, Leroy Kelly, Curtis Martin, Gale Sayre, Marshawn Lynch right below him. Roger Craig, that's a good, those are good numbers. I'm surprised by that. John says, you need to swear to never say inner circle Hall of Famer if you think every worthy player should get in their first year. I think every worthy player should get in next. What is an inner circle Hall of Famer? I don't believe in an inner circle Hall of Famer. I think there's a note, just because I don't think somebody should be in the Hall of Fame or shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, especially when it comes to football, I'm not up on my football Hall of Fame. But I don't believe in an inner circle Hall of Fame. There should be no such thing as an inner circle. There should be no such thing as a first ballot. If you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer. John says, I made no comments about Kurt Warner. Somebody made a comment about Kurt Warner. I read it. It was on the screen. Where's the Kurt Warner content? Oh, it was L1C. Oh, we have to apologize to John. L1C. Kurt Warner, you're wrong. He's a Hall of Famer. Where are we at? So we apologize to John. Usually he makes comments like that. Up until 30 seconds ago, I hadn't one thought of Kurt Warner in 10 years. Matt Forte, even my wife giggled when you said that. The Minneapolis Kid, the thing that makes him is his receiving yards. He had 1,000 receiving one year and changed the running back position. Copy. Harold Baines is just as important to the history of baseball than Ted Williams. No, that's different. Harold Baines is a Hall of Famer. He's in the Hall of Famer. Ted Williams is in the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer. Now, there's a difference between Hall of Famers and important to the history. Curt Flood is very important to the history of baseball, not in the Hall of Fame. There are a lot of players: Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Alex Rodriguez, Joe Jackson, Pete Rose, all important to the history of baseball, all not in the Hall of Fame. There's a complete difference. There is no such thing as inner circle Hall of Fame is more important to the history of baseball. And yes, Jack Morris and Walter Johnson are equals in the fact that they're both Hall of Famers. Jack Morris and Walter Johnson are equals in the fact that they both have plaques in Cooperstown, New York. That is a fact. Does that mean Jack Morris is better than Walter Johnson or has equal statistics? No, but it means they're both Hall of Famers. That's a simple fact. Roger Maris, important to the game of baseball. Doesn't mean he's equal to Babe Ruth. Doesn't mean he's equal to Jackie Robinson. But he was important to the history of baseball. And just because you're important to the history of baseball doesn't mean you're a Hall of Famer. or should be a Hall of Famer. Although I don't think Roger Maris should be in the Hall of Fame, but I think I think there should be a wing in the Baseball Hall of Fame for contributions, not just your playing. Like, especially they have a broadcaster wing. They should have contributions to the game of baseball. Curt Flood was not a Hall of Famer on the field, but for what he did to the game of baseball was very important. And that should be recognized in Cooperstown. Not for the play of Curt Flood as a baseball player, but as somebody who changed the game of baseball. That should be recognized. Tony Romo has better stats than Kurt Warner. Cool story. Average QB on a great team, was garbage for about half his career. Well, let's see what Tony Romo's statistics are. Tony Romo, because I don't know. Tony Romo stats: 34,000 passing yards, 248 touchdowns. But Tony Romo is not going to be in the Hall of Fame. Similar players: Joe Namath, Steve McNair, Mark Brunell, Ryan Tannehill, Joe Theismann, Jim Everett, Alex Smith, Jim Kelly, Kirk Cousins, Roger Staubach. Hall of Fame monitor: Tony Romo, 62nd among quarterbacks. By the way, I do not think I'm reading Len Dawson. I do not think Tony Romo should be in the Hall of Fame. He ranks way down there. Some quarterbacks ranking ahead on the Hall of Fame monitor from Pro Football Reference ahead of Tony Romo include Brian Sipe, but Brian Sipe played in a different decade. John Keating, I'm sorry. It's hard to compare current quarterbacks in this game because they're all like kind of on equal footing, like they're not quite eligible yet. So you have to compare them to players of the 90s or 80s. Is there any, in comparing quarterbacks, because obviously that's a position that's drastically changed even in the last 2 decades. Rich Gannon, who still played in an era where he was getting demolished. Steve McNair, Drew Bledsoe, Carson Palmer. So those are some of the players ranking ahead of Tony Romo, not in the Hall of Fame. Where are we at? Let's see. Philly Joe says, love Joe Jackson music. Well, some of it. Orlando says, put Pete Rose in already. Gambling is everywhere now. And I'm okay now. Like, I'm okay punishing Pete Rose because Pete Rose said, he agreed, like, I'm done with the game of baseball. Like, he agreed to, like, not, and then he just went on his horse and pony show or whatever the hell they call that and kind of made a mockery of it all. And, like, I'm okay. And he's kind of a douchebag. Like, he was a douchebag off the field. And, like, I'm okay. Like, but now posthumously, I'm okay. Like, put him in because he does have the stats. He was a great baseball player. Put him in the Hall of Fame. He's dead. Gambling is everywhere now. So might as well. Just put him in the Hall of Fame. Jim City Card Show says, how many Super Bowls did Romo go to? Uncle Rich says, Baseball Hall of Fame needs a contributor way of getting in. Completely agree. Interesting thing about Flood is that he was on track to a possible Hall of Fame on his play in the field. The fact that he walked away from a damn good career in his prime makes what he did more amazing. Max says rings. That dude says the importance of the game is on display in the museum, but the gallery of plaques is different. Rich says, but John Harry Carey better drunk than Harry Kalas. Harry Kalas was a legend at hotel bars throughout the league. McNair's Hall of Fame chance disappeared on a couch at a young lady's condo. Yes, rest in peace. John says it was McNair's condo, so he didn't have to worry about his security deposit. Max says Rose didn't deserve to be put in while alive. I feel like a horrible person saying that, but I'll stand behind it. Oh, I completely agree. Like, I think this is a perfect case, and I don't feel horrible about saying it. I think Pete Rose is a perfect example of we're not going to put you in until you're dead. He made a mockery of it all. He was a bad person off the field. Even though gambling is prevalent in the game, it wasn't during the time he was gambling and he was a manager for the Cincinnati Reds. And he said, like, he was like, I'm cool. Like, yeah, don't put me in, whatever. Whatever the wording was, he agreed to it. He agreed to the punishment. And then he put on the dog and pony show. So, you know, I'm okay with it. Minneapolis Kid says, if anyone needs something to listen to, check out the Pretty Good Lonnie Smith episode. It's pretty crazy. Dad Dude from Duryea says it's the Hall of Fame, not heaven. Well, normally I would agree. Not in this case. Like Pete Rose agreed to the punishment. And it's one of those things where should he be in the Hall of Fame based on his accolades? Yes. But he also was okay with the punishment that was set forth. And like now that he's dead, he can't, because he profited off all of that. And like he was just a douchebag. He was a dick. He was just a bad person. So now he's dead. Yeah, you can put him in. Joe Jackson needs to go in before Rose. And I agree with that. Flood had a streak of 7 Gold Gloves, 2 rings, 293 average, and 1,800 plus hits. Still had a good 6 to 7 years ahead of him. So there we go. A little Hall of Fame talk. Is there this much debate on the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame? Like, do you think there's, and if there is, I'd love to listen to that content. I'd love to listen to that. Orlando's in the Hall of Fame. Orlando. He's not a first ballot. I think if there would be Orlando would be a first ballot Hall of Fame. I don't know any of the other inductees, so I can't rib on anyone else. Do the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame, like, oh my God. I want to hear a rant about that. Somebody create one. Michael Renicky says, oh God, don't open that can of worms. Hey, we're going to play Name That Player. Who knows their junk wax? 90 Fleer. This, everybody gives, myself included, 91 Fleer, the worst ever award. I think this is the worst. I think 90 Fleer is the worst design. I think it's worse than 91. At least 91 Fleer is colorful. Open up right real. That's what I don't like about these old wax packs is the glue on the wax melts away. I don't know. Let's see. John says 90 Fleer is such a boring design. Agree. It's white and it's blah. It's just blah. One of the worst. So we're going to start with one of the worst baseball players. I don't know. We're going to start with a common. Fleer does not have gum. Fleer had stickers. Only Topps had gum. And I think, did some of the other companies eventually have gum? But there was a court case in the early 80s. Dave Valley is correct. Minneapolis Kid. Dave Valley. I should get my phone out for YouTube. Let's see. YouTube. John Keating, extra curmudgeon today. He's very unaccepting. Very unaccepting this morning. Dave Valley. He doesn't want to teach. John Keating doesn't want to teach anybody. If you don't know your baseball, you can't be here. Grouchy Keating this morning. He's on a beach somewhere, and he's still being a curmudgeon. Dave Valley, the Minneapolis Kid. Minneapolis Kid, is that your first point this round? Minneapolis Kid. Minneapolis Kid just comes out of you come out of the woodwork like everyone, like once every round. Like, oh, Minneapolis Kid is back. Minneapolis Kid. And then disappears. All right, next up. I was hoping this was Jose Uribe. It's not Jose Uribe. All right. San Francisco Giants. Dave Arnold, he's in class. He's got the kids working on some homework. All right, here we go. Ernie Riles. You know who knows his 90 Fleer? The Minneapolis Kid. Scotty Dubs was right behind him. Ernest Riles. Ernest Riles. You know, that's who we named Ernie after. It wasn't Ernie Banks. It was Ernie Riles. Minneapolis Kid. 2 for 2 this morning. All right. Next up, we go to Detroit. Oops, need a comma in there. All right. There we go. Minneapolis Kid. All right. Next up. Oop. There we go. Detroit Tigers. Not Alan Trammell. It is Gibson. Paul Gibson, Minneapolis Kid, 3 for 3. Minneapolis Kid must be staring at a 90 Fleer binder. I think I'm just going to leave so I don't have to keep moving you up the scoreboard. What the hell? We'll keep moving you up the scoreboard. All right. I'm going to move you here. That way I won't have to move. If you get another point, I don't have to move you again. All right. Moving on up. 3 points for Minneapolis Kid. Now we go out to L.A. L.A. By the way, this was not planned. It is. Back-to-back answers. Michael Renicky with the point this time. Kirk Gibson. Michael Renicky. And he remains in first place. 24 points. All right. Next up, Baltimore. Baltimore Orioles. Not Cal Ripken, not Chris Hoyles, not Sheets, not Joe Orsulak. It's Jim Traber. Michael Renicky. Jim Traber. Michael Renicky moving on up, building that lead, 25. All right, we're going back to the other coast. Back out west. All right, Scott Hermanson, I expect you to get this one. We're going to Oakland. We're going to Oakland. How far was Uncle Rich? Henderson Dave is correct. Michael Renicky with the point. Jim Traber. Michael Renicky was first. Rich Klein was second. Dave Henderson is correct. Dave Henderson. Michael Renicky got both first and last. 26 points for Michael Renicky. Now we're going to Atlanta. Oh, my Atlanta. All right, next up, Atlanta Braves. Ron Gant. Ron Gant. Who got that one? John Maybe. John Maybe. Let me see. Double check John Maybe on this one. John Maybe first. Michael Renicky second. John Maybe with the point. All right. Where are we at? Where are we at? John. John with 3 points. He ties Shane and Minneapolis Kid. Little bird outside the window. Let's Let's see. All right. There we go. All right. Next up, we're going to the Bronx. To the Bronx we go. Yankees. Andy Hawkins, correct. Minneapolis Kid first. Scotty Dubs second. Uncle Rich third. Andy Hawkins. Minneapolis Kid now at 4 points. Tied with SoCal Guy. All right, next up, Philly. We're going to Philly. Straight Execution is back. What's going on? Long time. It is not John Kruk. Let's see. Not Holland, not Kruk, not Carmen, not West, not Anderson, not Raleigh, not Mulholland, not Ruffin, not Carmen. It's Pat Combs, Minneapolis Kid. Pat Combs is correct. Pat Combs. Minneapolis Kid is now tied with that dude from Duryea. Minneapolis Kid with 5 points. All right, next up. All right, next up, Texas. Texas Rangers. Texas Rangers. And he is at what position is he? Doesn't say it on the back. It's Jeff Kunkel, Minneapolis Kid. I think Minneapolis Kid was first. Rich was second. Dave Arnold third. Minneapolis Kid keeps moving on up. All right, Minneapolis Kid now with, is that 6 points? He's tied with Peter. All right, next up. Another Atlanta Brave. Oh, and then we've got a twofer. 2 points possible on the next one. Atlanta Braves. Minneapolis Kid. You got it. Joe Beaver. Minneapolis Kid with another. What a run. Minneapolis Kid coming out of nowhere this morning with his 7th point, now tied with Card Hobbyist. And next up, a twofer. Who are these two? Michael Renicky gets them both. Michael Renicky. Hojo, Howard Johnson, and Ryan Sandberg. Rhino. All right. Michael Renicky with 2 points. And he moves up to 28. Hojo, Rhino. Hojo, Rhino. Hojo, Rhino. All right. Next up, St. Louis Cardinals. Boo. All right. And then one more after this. So 2 cards left. 2 points remain. St. Louis Cardinals catcher. Pena is correct. Michael Renicky. double check. Pretty sure. Yeah, Michael Renicky was first. Minneapolis Kid was second on Tony Pena. Michael Renicky has now a 9-point lead. 9 times. All right, last card. Last card. Cleveland Indians. Cleveland Indians. Steve Olin is correct. And was he killed in that boat accident? Steve Olin and Michael Renicky. Michael Renicky, 30 points for Michael Renicky. All right. There we go. All one card. I set one card aside. The older, of course, I had to set Rhino aside. So let's see. Yes, he died in the boat crash with Tim Cruz and Ojeda badly hurt. Yeah. All right. So that is what I had for today. Wow, it's 8:30 already. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Visit my eBay store, 99centcards.com. I did get some new inventory added yesterday. Did some lots. Could put a couple batches of singles, a bunch of Michael Irvin cards. Some new 2024 Topps archives went live in my store, and some player lots. So check those out, 99centcards.com. Buy 7 or more items at regular price. You'll save 25% off at checkout, 99centcards.com. Minneapolis Kid says, hey, does that card scanning software you use do much for non-sports? It depends. Yes and no. I know there are a lot. I don't scan too many non-sports. It depends. I know it's really good with Pokemon. It's really good with Magic. But in terms of like random, like 1990 Topps The Simpsons, I don't think it's good with that. I'm not sure. I guess it kind of depends on what type of non-sports you're looking for. If it's Pokemon, yes, it's great with Pokemon. If it's random movie cards from the 80s and 90s, I don't think it's too good with that, because I think I did do a batch of non-sports, and it was not very, but it was a random mishmash of all sorts of stuff. Yeah. So if it's like movie stuff, I don't think it's very accurate. I don't think it has it in the database or whatever. So, alrighty, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll go live again tomorrow morning, a weekend edition, Saturday morning, probably around 8:30. No Hobby Evolution on Sunday, but you can come out and see me in Janesville, Wisconsin. I'll be at the Janesville Card Show. Hours are 9 to 3, Super Bowl Sunday, or maybe 9 to 2, but I'll be there until I'm not. So come out and see me in Janesville, Wisconsin. I'll have all new bargain boxes, all new quarter boxes. I'll have junk wax packs like 90 Fleer. So come out and see me in Janesville on Sunday. Have a wonderful Friday, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.